Joao Palhinha, the Fulham central midfielder, is a man in demand. There are rumours that Arsenal and Liverpool are looking at him, and with what Man City have been doing the last few years, 3 Premier Leagues in a row, going for a 4th, is this a signing that turns title hopefuls into title champions? That's what I want to explore today. He nearly joined Bayern Munich in the summer, but there is a feeling that both teams need just that little bit more to actually get it over the line and stop last season's treble winners from making it 4 in a row. Is he the answer? I want to explore that. These are the reports coming out from Sam Dean at The Telegraph that Bayern Munich are facing competition from multiple Premier League clubs in the battle to sign Joao Palhinha from Fulham. The Portugal midfielder almost joined Bayern Munich last summer, but has said that the Premier League is best suited to his style of play. Interesting. I think I understand where that's coming from. I think the idea, if we're just to understand the play a little bit, the Premier League known for being very physical, very intense. You know, we have a 4th cup competition, games come thick and fast. There are teams that play varied styles of football. It can be a very physical game. Joao Palhinha has taken to that superbly, and the evidence is there. Look at this from FB Ref. The closer you are to 99, that means you're in the top 1% for things, the better you are. You can see here that he ranks in the 99th percentile for tackles won, 95th for tackles in the middle third, very good for blocks, interceptions, clearances. Hit the pause button if you want to look at those numbers in more detail. But what you're seeing is a lot of green telling you that Joao Palhinha defensively is superb, and he has been. You only got to forget the stats, the eye test. You watch him, he's brilliant off the ball. He covers loads of ground for Fulham. He plays in a 4-4-2 with Pereira slightly closer to the striker. So he has to cover a lot of ground. Fulham do a lot of defending as well. And they have, I wouldn't say relied on him because they've done some good work as well. And there are other players that certainly play their part. But he is the star in that team for me, and he's the one that everyone is looking at. And not to say, I just wanted to get this stat in, he's also got the most Premier League tackles since the start of last season, accumulating last year with this season. No one's tackling more than Joao Palhinha. So this sparked a few thoughts in my head before we actually talk about Arsenal and Liverpool individually. It got me thinking, maybe Tony Pulis was ahead of his time. Okay, slightly tongue-in-cheek there. But when you kind of think about it, right, the principles of football that are associated with the Tony Pulis's, Sam Allardyce, Roy Hodgson's, Sean Dyche of this world, you know, they are things that managers playing really, really good football, I think are taking very seriously in their team. I've got a list of them here. I mean, things like, you know, fullbacks playing at centre-back, Tommy Asu, left back for Arsenal, Nathan Ake, Vardiel, Walker basically doesn't bomb on the way he used to. You know, you're basically having 6'2" defenders minimum across the back 4 to ensure that you're controlling transitions. But on top of that, defensively, teams are playing with more of a 4-4-2 off-the-ball press shape now. You know, once upon a time, 4-4-2 was kind of seen 2 banks of 4, very boring, got to be more expansive than that. You've got to press out the pitch, you've got to have, you know, that extra 10 in midfield, you've got to have really expansive wingers, and that's true to a degree, but off the ball it's about doing the basics, and that is something that I guess is comparable to what those managers used to do before. And there's other things. I've seen Arsenal attempt long throw-ins with Thomas Partey. I've seen a lot of them. We've been linked to a plan B striker now, Arsenal. You know, can they get more of a focal point up top? Man City, Pep Guardiola, to beat Arsenal last season, were going long to Haaland at times and bypassing a press and playing a lot of long ball. At Luton, what did Arsenal do? They went long to Jesus and Havertz. That's how they got the equaliser. So we're seeing elements of this coming into play, and maybe you have to have a little bit more Pulis ball in you to win the Premier League now. Who knows? That's just a question I want to float out there. Football and its styles certainly change on a regular basis, but I do want to understand whether Palhinha, when you look at his really good defensive numbers and what we've all seen with our eyes, is he the guy that Arsenal and Liverpool need? I'm just going to pour some cold water on it for a sec, very, very early on. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Now, why are Arsenal maybe looking at a player like Palhinha? Because they need another central midfielder. But I've said central midfielder, not defensive midfielder, and I've said that for a reason. We know that Thomas Partey is having injury problems, and it looks like the way Rice has been used at times this season, Arteta does want to free up Declan and does want to give him the opportunity to play more box-to-box, get up and down the pitch. Thomas Partey, though, is a very, very, very smooth footballer. Here's a player that gets the ball and combines really well. He gets Arsenal, plays quite literally a playmaker. It feels like when he's in the team and Zinchenko and they're playing as a double pivot with, you know, other players floating in front, it feels like Arsenal are then at their most fluid. His ability to bypass the press, you know, play cutting, you know, cutting through the line passes. Is Joao Palhinha that kind of guy? Well, when you look at some of his passing numbers, it would suggest no. We go to FBref, look at the amount of red on the board. Not great for passes completed. His pass completion of 82.7% isn't great. He's not one to register assists, expected assists, key passes into the final third. Now, some of this will be impacted by the fact he plays for Fulham, with all due respect. You know, they're languishing 14th, I think. Last season, I think they got the top 10 or near the top 10. You know, so he's not playing in a bad side, which is also what makes you think these numbers should be a little bit better. But they're certainly not great. And I think if Arsenal had to get a midfielder in, you need to get someone who's either a direct replacement for Partey, who is great on the ball, or is more of an 8 so that Rice can sit as the 6 where he's played the last couple games. Quite frankly, Rice covers ground so brilliantly, you don't really need a space eater, you don't need a destroyer in midfield. You need someone who's a little bit more of a natural 8, can do everything in the game and play alongside him and Ødegaard. But if it's going to be Palhinha, then do you want someone a little smoother on the ball so that Rice can play that more box-to-box and you get that balance in midfield a touch better? Now, the other team linked is Liverpool, and that makes sense because Liverpool need a number 6, right? Well, that's what I've been saying. I've been saying a lot of Liverpool needing a number 6, and I do believe they do. I don't think I've changed my mind on that. But I want to show you this interesting graphic from The Athletic, which talks about where teams allow ball progression. Now, you've got all 20 Premier League clubs here, but if I can just take you to the third row and to Liverpool, you can see basically the more purple the area, less progression they allow, which is good. The more orange, yellow, they certainly allow a little bit more. And there's nothing really that concerning there to suggest that they allow a load of progression through their midfield. When you look at it compared to Man United's, for example, who's another good side that aren't doing that great in this area. I mean, Man City, there's kind of more orange and yellow, and there's kind of more central midfield or, you know, number 6 areas of the pitch than in Liverpool's. I mean, maybe down that right-hand side where Trent Alexander-Arnold is, I guess. But my point is, there's nothing there that suggests that Liverpool get cut through all the time. That's just from a data perspective. Hold that thought. I also want to give you this. McAllister's defensive stats on FBref. Better than people would think. He's been Liverpool's starting 6 for most of the season. And again, he's ranking very decently, especially for tackles in the middle third. We know that Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp have always liked to press in that central area. He's, you know, up there for, you know, dribblers tackled and dribblers challenged, for passes blocked, for interceptions, and he's got really good recovery numbers as well. So when you couple all that, what I've just shown you in terms of where Liverpool, you know, allow ball progression, McAllister's numbers, but also the fact that Liverpool have only conceded 14 league goals, having already travelled to City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham and Brighton. 14 league goals is joint with Arsenal. I've recorded this just before they play Sheffield United, so they might concede one there, maybe more. I wouldn't expect them to, though. Actually, the data tells you that this is all overblown, this, you know, desperate need for Liverpool to get a number 6 so that they can go and win the title. I will say that their XG conceded is 17.0. That is nearer Chelsea, Brentford, Palace, Everton, who are all kind of nearer the 18, 19, whatever. Arsenal, who have a XG conceded of 11.5, are nearer City and Newcastle, and they're the better numbers. So that tells you that Liverpool do concede chances. But to be honest, the eye test does too. When I watch Liverpool, and you know, all that data and numbers, you know, you can't ignore it. You've got to look at it and actually reconsider your opinion at times. But when I watch Liverpool, I do feel like you can cut through them quite easily. And I've done a video on this channel saying that they're not ready for the title because I don't think they've got the balance in midfield to do it. I stand by that, but maybe the numbers are making me look at it a little bit differently. So where do I land on it, basically, with Palhinha as a fit to Liverpool? My feeling is, well, firstly, for Arsenal, doesn't really work for me. I think you need someone who is better on the ball. For 40 million, is it worth a risk? Yes, over getting no one. Especially when you got, you know, the European football, crunch time, all that, for 40 to 50 million, maybe worth doing. But I'm not sure he's the right fit or profile age-wise as well and all this, because he is, you know, Arsenal-like players in that 24-25 bracket. I think he's 26, 27, maybe 28. For Liverpool, though, he feels like a perfect midfield destroyer for Liverpool. You got McAllister, Thiago when he's fit, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, lots of really talented midfielders. Can Palhinha come in there, just be the destroyer and keep things moving? He'd suit the gegenpress style that Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool have, although they have moved away from that recently. And yeah, in a lot of ways, he feels a really good fit. But I can't ignore the data when I look at the fact that he's pretty poor statistically on the ball, Palhinha. and McAllister off the ball statistically isn't as bad as people think, I guess my answer is, again, yeah, if there's no one else, do it. And he probably, in fact, if they have Palhinha, I am definitely more confident they can win the title, for sure. He's a specialist 6, he can win the ball back and he can let those forwards and those other more creative midfielders flourish. But if there are other options, and I don't know who they are, you've got to get the scouting department on it, but a Kone, a Thuram, I don't know, Doucouré from Palace. If you can look at those other midfielders and maybe spend that 20 million more because they're better on the ball, I'm not saying they are, but do your research. Scouting department, I'm saying, do your research. I think where I land on this is, Palhinha's a very good player, and I think he could go to Arsenal or Liverpool and give them a better chance of winning the league for sure. But in a world where there are quite a few other DMs out there that are maybe worth the risk, in a world where DMs and 6s have to have so much on the ball, so much intelligence, they've got to be able to create as well, they've got to be able to carry and do the defensive work, I'm not entirely convinced that Joao Palhinha is the right option. And I just want to say a really big thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, actually hit the links right here to watch more content like this, including my Football First podcast, which drops every Monday to Friday at 6 AM. And I know it's annoying, I am really sorry to have to ask, but if you want to show support to the channel, hitting the like and subscribe buttons help promote the content much more than you could possibly know. Thanks again.